Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
To believe or not to believe, election 2020. Now, facts are famously stubborn things, but when you hear the term objective data, be careful how you process what comes next. Numbers and metrics can only be considered data or facts if they rest on a foundation of mathematical certainty. While we've seen and heard the stories of expelled election observers, hundreds of affidavits alleging ballot fraud, and grounded theories of voting system manipulation, the most plausible case to be made and widely accepted for its objectivity about the dubious outcome of the 2020 presidential election is based on objective, verifiable, publicly available data. The saga of election night 2020 will be told for many years to come, and atop the list of tales will be the tidal wave of black votes which hit in the middle of the night after voting had stopped and then restarted free of observers. These votes came in just 4 cities, the largest in each of the 4 most bitterly contested swing states: Detroit, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and Atlanta. Biden's black vote spiked only in those locations, the ones necessary to secure victory, and nowhere else. They numbered in the hundreds of thousands, with more than 90% going to Biden. Now, moving from the realm of the implausible to the impossible, the most prime exhibits may be in Michigan, where no less than 8 cities showed the entirely impossible turnout of 100% or more, far more, in Democrat-dominated districts. In North Muskegon, Michigan, over 700% of registered voters cast ballots. In Zeeland Charter Township, Michigan, it was over 400%. Just as hard to process is the matter of turnout. In Wisconsin, turnout was a jaw-dropping 90%, over 90%. In Milwaukee, it was 84% compared to a city with very similar demographics, Cleveland, where 51% turned out. Biden's margin of victory in Montgomery County, a critical suburban area surrounding Philadelphia, is incredibly reported as double that of Barack Obama in 2008. At the height of his rock star status that year, Obama received 69 million votes across the land. He got 65 million in 2012, as did Hillary Clinton in 2016. But this year we're told that Joe Biden, for whom there was zero enthusiasm anywhere, received over 80 million votes. Donald Trump, for whom there was massive enthusiasm, received 11 million more votes than in 2016, increased his support among black voters by almost 50%, and bumped his share of the Hispanic vote up to 35%. Republicans down ballot won virtually every competitive race in the House, most in the Senate, and held every state house and won control of 3 more state houses. And yet Trump still apparently came up short. These are but the most glaring of the myriad statistical evidence of an outcome that should, by all reliable measures, have produced a different outcome at the top of the ticket. Debates over the legitimacy of the ultimate result will carry on for years to come, but only one thing is clear. The objective data that I just described to you will never change. Nor will the official result of this election, barring a sudden change of fortune for the Trump legal team. And with the election now almost 4 weeks into the rearview mirror, we're starting to experience the fallout, the coulda, woulda, shoulda. And you may recall the Trump campaign fired campaign manager Brad Parscale at the height of the pandemic and the urban violence in July, even though Parscale was, by all accounts, a major factor in leading Trump to victory in 2016. And Parscale broke his silence on Fox News this week, saying he had a clear idea of what to do.
My plan tried to make this a choice election, not a referendum. And I think that was one of the biggest disputes within the campaign. I tested 140 plus policies against Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. Trump bested him in 139 of them with American people. They knew the president's policies are what they wanted. The issue was how to keep this as a choice election. Joe Biden's America and going back, that he somehow could do this better, which I don't think he can, or Donald Trump, who had made America better and his policies, and make sure it didn't end up a referendum on him.
But a referendum is apparently what it became, much to the chagrin of the man who, along with Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, was the chief engineer of Trump's shock election 4 years ago.
The people running the day-to-day operation were Jared and I. And I think that it didn't make sense why you would pull that team away if you're getting close in 2020. But we understood where the weaknesses where we need to pick up the votes. We understood what election day operations need to look like because of the legal fight. We planned that fight out 2 years in advance. I understood that this was going to happen. My team understood it was going to happen. We had a plan to increase the Latino and black vote, which we did. We had a plan to try to keep the suburban housewives. We had a lot of plans, and we knew exactly what the path was to victory. COVID threw a wrench in it, but we still had a plan even through that.
But under pressure because of Trump's sinking poll numbers during the summer of despair, Brad Parscale was denied the chance to repeat his success of 4 years earlier, and the reins were handed over to a new top brass.
They paused. They didn't know my plan. They didn't know to execute it or not, and they started to diverge away from it, and they started to test it. Should we use data like this? Should we buy TV like this? Should we run this? Should we do this? Should we even work with the RNC, which I think were crucial mistakes.
Crucial enough, perhaps, to cost Trump the election. They say victory has many fathers, while defeat is an orphan. No one wants to take the blame. But rest assured, fingers of blame will be pointed in every different direction by the GOP in the weeks and months ahead, just as they were by Democrats after Hillary Clinton's legendary defeat in 2016.
Stay ahead of the curve with LibertyNation.com. With one click, Liberty Nation delivers tomorrow's news.
And remember, liberty.
Today.
All the time and everywhere.
With LNTV's Hot Topics and Analysis.
You're looking at people just rising up.
Liberty Nation Radio, The Uprising and Rabbit Hole podcasts. And dozens of insightful original articles. And now, you can keep your kids ahead of the curve with LNGenZ.com. LN Gen Z brings a free-thinking education right into your home for students of every grade level with articles, videos, worksheets, and ready-to-go curricula. While the media establishment giants are sleeping, you can stay ahead of the curve with LibertyNation.com and get tomorrow's news today. Liberty Nation and LNGenZ.com.